What is up, guys? This is Godzilla, and today I have yet another figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at this bootlegged Godzilla 1964 figure. Now this is based off of the Bandai 50th Anniversary Memorial Box Godzilla 64, or Mosugoji, as the suit is called. So yes, it is a bootleg. I'll get to the differences between this and the original later into the video, but yes, this is a bootleg. Without further ado, let me get right into detail. Despite being a bootleg, this figure has fantastic detail. Let's just get a look at the head. There's all sorts of detail on the snout here. Moving around, yes, all sorts of detail all over the place. On the side of his head, he starts to get his little scale things. There's the top. The spines look very nice. There's the other side of the head. He has very smooth eyebrows. Let's see, there isn't any detail inside his mouth, but his tongue is sculpted, and that's nice. I like the look under his chin. It looks very cool. So yes, the head is very detailed. Let's move on to the body. It's actually looks really good right here in the torso with all this different stuff. And the scale skin things get bigger and bigger. Going into his legs, his knees have interesting textures. And then down to his feet, which are kind of smoothed out. And they look good. Moving on to the spines. They are typically detailed among spines, but they're definitely good spines for detail. So I like them. Under the tail, it's like most Godzilla figures. You know, it just kind of has this section of flatness here. So the detail on this figure is fantastic. On to Sculpt. Not only Sculpt, but also the detail on this figure is pretty much an exact copy of the Bandai version, or the original version. So it looks very good. The only difference is, I'll get to that later, sorry. So yes, the sculpt is very good, the head is very nice, nothing looks out of place here. He's kind of hunched over. I'm moving back a bit. So yes, he's a little bit hunched over, not much. He's got his hands in this position here, like right in front of him. His feet are very close together. I don't mind that. I think it looks cool. His tail comes up off the ground and curves to the right, which looks good, or to the left if you're looking at it this way. His teeth are not individually sculpted, unfortunately. So sculpt on this guy is also very good. Now I'll go ahead and do paint job. Now the only differences between this guy and the original Bandai is the paint job. First I'm just going to talk about this figure's paint job. He has plain white eyes with very defined black pupils, very cartoon-like, but that's how it was in the movie. He's the same shade of green all around, which looks good. He was more of a typical gray in the movie, but the green does fit the figure quite well. The green gets a little bit lighter on his eyebrows. The inside of his mouth is painted all kind of a mellow red, and his teeth are very well painted. They look very good. He's got some very, very subtle light highlights here, up through his central body. Also, he has some more distinct light highlights here on the knees. And that's about it for the highlights. Yeah. His nails, they actually look really good. Let's look at his feet. Those look very interesting, but I like the style. His spines are pretty much plain white. I don't know if this is paint wear or not, but the ends of the spines are green, the same as the rest of his body. That's probably just the paint being worn off. And these spines here are more of a green than the main row. Down here, it looks like they just spray painted it. It doesn't look as bad as some other figures, so I won't take points off. So that's the paint job. Now, to talk about the differences between this figure and the original Bandai. It's all in the paint job. There's like no difference, except for maybe the quality of the vinyl. But that's kind of stretching it. So on the original, the spines had blackish brown highlights on the textured parts here, kind of like looking like this, and something like this. So if they'd have done that, it would have looked a lot better. And that's probably one of the biggest downs to this figure, is that the spines are not perfect, and the original was. So that's a downgrader, I guess. The other difference is that these green highlights on the knees and the belly were much more distinct. There was much more contrast between the highlights and the regular skin tone. And I think it looked very good, but that isn't here on this figure, so that's another down. There were highlights right here on each hip, and I thought those actually looked really good. I would have loved to see those on this figure. So those are the primary differences between the bootleg, this one, and the original. What else can I say about paint job? That's about it for paint job. So, on to articulation. This guy has very standard articulation. His head rotates 360 degrees. Be careful not to pop his head off, because it does come off rather easily. His arms move 360 if you move them to like get out of the way of the legs. This arm I think is a little bit looser than this arm for some reason. I have no clue why. His legs move 360. You have to work it though so it can get around the tail. This one, his right leg is a lot stiffer than his left leg, but his right arm is a lot looser than his right arm. Did I say that right? Okay, this is looser than this, but this is stiffer than this. There, that's right. So there is a bit of inconsistency between each point of articulation, but they do move 360. His tail can kind of move 360, but I don't think it's supposed to be articulation. It's just where they put the tail on. Because when you move it, his whole thing here kind of morphs around a lot, and it is very stiff. So, for now I'm going to go with 5 points of 360 degree articulation. Let me do some size comparisons now. Let's move them back here. Let's get out a Showa Godzilla that most of you probably have, or not most of you, the Bandai Creation Godzilla 1968. Now, they look like they're about the same size on camera. 68 is about centimeter taller. So, yeah, about that much taller. So they don't really work together because all Showa Godzillas are the same size. Maybe you have to be like that big for it to work. So yes, not very good, but that's completely this guy's fault. He's not in scale with anything. There's probably something, but he's not very well in scale with much. Let's get out another Showa Godzilla that some of you may not have. The Yamakatsu Godzilla 1962. Now, he is actually taller than the Yamakatsu by about the same as the 68 Godzilla, but the only difference is this one is taller. So yes, they also sort of work, but not very well. Here, let's put them in order. So yes, here's some Showa Godzillas. Now I'll get out a standard 6-inch Godzilla figure, the Bandai Godzilla 2004. 64 is about just a smidge taller than 2004, only by a bit though, and they look very good together. They can fight side by side. Anyway, so this guy appeared in the film Godzilla Mothra vs. Godzilla 1964. So here's a Bandai Creation Rainbow Mothra. This is the closest I have. Sort of. They're sort of okay together. They work, but I'm not sure if it's accurate. Then here's a Trendmasters Mothra, the roaring one. They look good, but they're not size accurate, definitely. But I think these two look better together than these two. So yes. Now, if I had a Mothra larva, I would compare that with this guy. But in order to get this guy, I traded my Mothra larva, so I don't have it anymore. So yes, this guy's size is up pretty well with most 6-inch figures. What else can I say? Overall thoughts, I suppose. It's a bootleg, but it's a very good bootleg. If you have a choice between this and the original, get the original, A, because it's better, and B, because it's the legitimate one. But if you see this guy at like a flea market, or at maybe just some used toy store for maybe $15, $10, I might recommend picking him up because he's a cheap Godzilla who somewhat resembles the Memorial Box one and is a very high quality figure. So, but I would prefer the original over this. Anyway, so I'm going to give him a 4 out of 5. If this were the original, I might have given him a 5. But mainly the spines and the lack of highlights are what bring his score down to a 4. So, yes, 4 out of 5. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't, I would also appreciate it if you would please hit the thumbs up button. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you on my next video.